Hello all, my name is Dinesh Raturi and today we will be developing end-to-end COVID-19 chatbot using Dialogflow, Python Flask, MongoDB and Rapid API. First of all, thank you very much for your appreciation, feedbacks, requests regarding the chatbot over my email and LinkedIn. So this is my first video of the chatbot playlist where I'll be teaching you end-to-end and stepwise implementation of the chatbot. So let me give a brief introduction about Dialogflow. Using Dialogflow, you will be developing your chatbot. Dialogflow is a NLP-based platform developed by Google, which is able to understand users' intent and able to respond according to that. Also, you can integrate your chatbot to mobile applications, Telegram, WhatsApp, Google Assistants, Amazon Alexa, Slacks, Viber, and other platforms. So let's do a requirement gathering and feasibility study. So here are the requirements. Bot should be able to answer all the queries and frequently asked questions related to COVID-19. Bot should be able to show statistics worldwide, country-wise, Indian state, district, or on Google Map using third-party APIs. And we will be using Rapid API for that. Bot should be able to send detailed report of COVID-19 on user email address and prevention measures as an attachment. Bot should be able to show help desk numbers, emergency numbers, live news, government announcements, images, and videos related to COVID-19. One more important thing, bot should be able to save user bot conversation on the database like MongoDB. Now let's discuss a basic chatbot flow. You will be able to see two colors here, blue and green. Blue represents the user's query and green represents the bot response to that particular query. Now you will be able to see that there is a stepwise implementation of user query, user request, and then bot response to the user for that particular query. Now user asks something to the chatbot that in the form of text, and Google Dialogflow tries to extract that text and matches it with some intent and then sends the request plus that intent. Request means there are some parameters inside it like name or some other email address or something like this according to the implementation plus some intent, and it goes to the Python Flask Web API, which is deployed on Pivotal, Cloud Foundry, or Heroku platform. So this container is basically our Python Web API. Inside there is a functions, different functions to perform some different tasks. So now our controller is in Python Flask Web API. So the work of Python is to parse the request and intent and pass it to some further functions, so that that function can decide whether it has to perform it has to request third-party API or send email or some MongoDB action or some other business logic. After performing the task, the function will return the response from Python Flask to Dialogflow, and then Dialogflow will return the response to user. So this is how the basic chatbot flow works. Divided this development into three parts. First is Google Dialogflow and NLU. We will be understanding Google Dialogflow and NLU. After that, we will be understanding Flask, Python APIs integration and MongoDB. And third, we will be testing it on Postman and deploying it further on Pivotal, Cloud Foundry or Heroku. So before starting, just quickly check how the final chatbot looks like. So you can find my chatbot by this name on the Telegram application. So let's quickly chat with my bot. So now it is giving me a few options like statistics, frequently asked question, help desk, and exit. So let's see, I want to see statistics. Okay, so it is giving me further 5 options like cases country wise, Indian states wise, worldwide, or district wise, or map wise. So let's assume I have to see worldwide cases. So now it is giving me total number of worldwide cases, and it is also telling me that do you want me to send the email address to report to your email address, sure or not now. Okay, not now. Okay, now it is giving me 2 options, main menu. So again, let's go to the statistics and see country wise cases. Okay, now it is giving me few options, top countries, or you can write your own country. So let's assume I chose India. Okay, now it is giving me Indian reports, the report of India, and you can if you want to send these report to email with prevention measures attachment, so you can type sure, otherwise you can type not now. Anyhow, if you want to see like how message look like, email look like. So it will send you the email like this, or you can customize your email in the form of HTML. There is a HTML format for that. You can customize according to your need. Okay, so let's go back to the main menu. Okay, now if you want to see some statistics regarding report strict wise, you are able to see that, or on Google Map you will be able to see that. So you can see that it is showing you the Google Map option also. Now if you want to see some videos, you can see the videos also regarding to COVID-19. Or if you want to ask some questions like frequently asked question, you can directly ask questions, or you can choose from the top three questions. So mostly people ask for the symptoms and precautions, so you'll be able to see that. So all these questions are in the knowledge base, so you can make your own knowledge base, and as the knowledge base getting rich, then into the best information it will provide you. So people ask generally what is COVID-19, so it will give you the images also, and it is also giving you the government announcements. All right, so if you want to see some help desk numbers, you can see the help desk number also, or you want to see some live news, it will show you the live news also. Okay, and if you want to ask something like can I wear mask, then it will give you the answers also. So you can ask anything related to COVID-19, it will reply you back, and you will make your you have to make your knowledge base rich day by day. Okay, now let's go back to the MongoDB. So let's see if our conversation has saved in the database or not. So I have already logged in to my MongoDB Atlas. You can see the chat records collection here, and all the chats between the bot and a user are saving in the database. You can see over here, like user asked something for China, like report for China, and bot gave the response back. So yeah, for further analysis, you can use this database in the MongoDB. So before starting, I want to discuss few of its terminologies, which is very important to discuss right now. First is agent. So what is agent? Agent is something like your chatbot application through which user is interacting with. Second is intent. Whenever user said something or queried something to the bot, agent tries to match it with some intent. And I will be discussing rest of the terminologies later while development. Third is knowledge base. So knowledge base is something like a CSV or comma separated file or HTML file which has question and answer basically. Fourth one is fulfillment and integration. Fulfillment is something when you have to connect your Dialogflow with the Python or Flask framework, and integration is something when you have to integrate and deploy your chatbot to Telegram or WhatsApp or something like applications. Now to create a chatbot agent, you have to log in into your Dialogflow account with your Gmail ID. I have already done that, so I'll go to console directly. Otherwise you have to log in or sign in with the Gmail ID. So just click on go to console option. So after login, you will see the blank dashboard like this. I have already created some agents, so you will not be able to see all these kind of options there. So you have to create an agent first. So you just click on this option and give any name to your bot or agent. So I have already given the COVID-19 test name to my agent. You just need to give any name and just hit create. So whenever you will go inside intent option, then you will be able to see two options are there. One is fallback intent, other is welcome intent. So let's click on welcome intent, and you will be able to see few options like context, events, training phrases, action and parameters, and response. And then there is a fulfillment option is there, right? So we will discuss step by step in later stages. But as of now, just understand that whenever user asks something to the bot, let's say user said hi, hello, or something like this, then Google Flow tries to match that particular query with the intent and will give a response to the user like this: hello, hi, how are you doing, hello, how can I help you, or something like this. Let's go to the second intent, which is fallback intent. So as per the name, fallback means whenever Dialogflow is not able to understand the user query, then it will reply all these sentences like I didn't get, can you please say that again, and something like these words or sentences. So we have to create a multiple intents for our COVID-19 chatbot. So we will discuss each and every steps. After that, you will be able to see knowledge base. So as we have discussed earlier, knowledge base is something like a frequently asked question CSV file or HTML file. So we will put all the question and answer in a CSV file, and we will upload inside it knowledge base. So we can create a knowledge base by going here. You just need to create a knowledge base. You can name any knowledge base like COVID, or just save it. After that, you have to click on create first one, and you need to fill this form. Like knowledge type will be FAQ, MIME type will be CSV. We will upload in CSV. You can upload in HTML also. So we will upload in text and CSV, comma separated values. Then we will upload it from our computer. In the later stages, I will tell you how. And then you have to click on save. And so whenever you will a user ask some questions related to those FAQs, then our body will be able to understand that it is being asked from the knowledge base. So bot will reply for that particular question from the knowledge base itself. Third option is fulfillment. So whenever you have to connect, as we have earlier discussed in this video, that whenever we have to connect our Dialogflow with our Python or Flask framework in the backend or a cloud like Pivotal or Heroku, then we have to go to the fulfillment part, and we have to enable the webhook option, and then we will give URL here, URL of our Python and Flask framework, which we have deployed in the Heroku or Pivotal Cloud Foundry. We have to click save option. Then there is an integration option. So in the integration option, we will finally deploy our application to Twitter, Facebook Messenger, or Telegram, something like these options. Go to the source code, which I have uploaded already on my GitHub profile. You just need to clone it, or you can download it, and make sure you hit the star button if you like my playlist. So just download it. I have already done that. So I have downloaded that particular source code to my local repository. So as of now, you will be needing COVID-19 bot agent Dialogflow zip file. Okay, so just go to your Dialogflow setting option of your agent, and you have to go to export and import option, then import from zip, and then you have to select it from, or you can just drag and drop directly to your bot. Okay, so it will take some time, and then you have to click import button. After that zip file, you will be able to see all the intents just like me. If import functionality won't work for you, you have to create it manually. I have mentioned all the information inside my document. You can see the document over here, and I have posted the link in my GitHub profile. So this is the document where I have also mentioned the stepwise implementation with including the application flow diagram. So let's discuss the intent flow diagram. Here we can see that there are one welcome intent. Inside it there are 4 intents like statistics, FAQ, help desk, or exit. And after that there are having different childs, which is also a intents for us. And few intents like send email or end conversation are not mentioned over here, because they are the direct intents for COVID-19 bot. Because user is not dependent on any of these options. User can ask for the email after these options, after these intents, anytime. Okay, so in real world IT industry, it is very important to create an intent flow diagram, because it is very suitable for you to develop the chatbot or to manage the chatbot in future. So let's discuss the welcome intent first. And one more important thing I want to mention here, that I will be discussing 3 intents here. One is welcome intent, other is country intent, and the third one is FAQ intent. All right. So, and the reason of discussing 3 intents here is all the other intents will behave just like these 3 intents. So if you are able to understand these 3 intents, country or statistic intent, welcome intent, or FAQ, you will be able to make your own chatbot. Okay, so let's go to the Dialogflow. So now after importing, you will be able to see all these intents. So click on welcome intent. So you will be able to see that there is an option training phrases. So now whenever user has come to your chatbot and and type hi. So you have trained your welcome intent according to that, because hi is in my training phrases. You can train your intent just like you want. If you want to train a word like Dinesh and just hit enter, then you will be able to see that whenever anyone or user type Dinesh, then it will goes inside the welcome intent. As of now, inside welcome intent, Google Dialogflow provides by default training phrases, so we don't need to train any of these phrases. Go to the responses tab. So you will be able to see there is default. You will be able to see default option here. So you can create your Facebook Messenger, Telegram. I'll be discussing it later. But as of now, for default intent, you will be able to see text response. So you can add text response over here, and you have to add the response whenever users say hi, hello, or any training phrases that you have mentioned over here. Dialogflow will reply, or bot will reply to the user with this response. So whenever user said hi, then the response will be hello, hope you are staying at home and safe, welcome to COVID-19 bot. So choose first, second, third, and fourth and fifth, and options like this. So you can create your Telegram view also. If you are using Telegram, so you are able to see in Telegram, like I said hi. So you will be able to see the options over here like hello and this text. So this text is similar to this text, and the quick replies option is like the buttons. Okay, so I have mentioned the quick replies button over here. You can see that these options are here like these options. Okay, all right, and all these options are representing our intent. So whenever user chose any statistics, FAQ, help desk, or exit, just like I have mentioned in my docs, like statistics, FAQ, help desk, and exit. So these are my intents, or you can say that it's a button in my Telegram, or quick replies in my Telegram application. So you can see that it is I'm able to see I'm able to see all these in the form of button. Or if we are not using Telegram, or we are using some other application, then we have to mention it like this. Default response of hi will be like this. And now let's assume that user has chosen cases country wise option. So there should be a provision in our Dialogflow or chatbot to handle the cases country wise training phrases. So for this we have to create a intent. So let's go back to the intent option, and I have handled it inside select country option. So I have created a new intent whose name is select country option, and I have given the training phrases cases country wise. So whenever user enter cases country wise option or choose cases country wise option, then Dialogflow will able to match, and Dialogflow will be able to understand the intent and give the response according to that. So bot will respond, please enter the country name. So let's test it. So yeah, you can see that default response is like please enter country name. User has selected India as a country name. So there should be a provision to handle the country name. Okay, so let's go back to the intents. So I have handled it inside COVID search country intent. So now you will be able to see that I have mentioned only one country name inside training phrases. So as soon as user has entered India as a query text, then Dialogflow will be able to match the intent with this, but here I have entered the USA. So how Google Dialogflow will be able to match the intent? So it is just because of an entity, because Dialogflow provides us the different type of entities like name, email, phone number, etc., so that we can extract the information what user has actually entered. Inside action and parameters, we are actually extracting the India or any country name, so that we will send it to further Python or Flask, and Python Flask will be able to send it further to the Rapid API, so that it will return the response of India, and hence Python Flask will return it to Dialogflow, and Dialogflow will return it to user. In this case, you will be able to see that we have mentioned parameters name, sys geo country, default entity which is in yellow in color. So there is no matter user has entered India, Japan or any country name, so it will automatically fetches the country name because we have mapped it with the default entity. So you have to we can get the value at $geo-country name, and we can also prompt the user if it has an user has entered a wrong country name, right? Now response option. Now you will be able to see that we have mentioned the here are the details like this, and do you want me to send the report to your email address? Because after showing the detailed report, we have to ask to send this report to user's email address. So here I want to mention one point. Whenever you are looking for the detailed report for India, so you will hit the webhook fulfillment for India. So our Python Flask will return some response in terms of JSON. Okay, and it will be over, and that JSON response will override this default text response. So you can see over here that in India, if user has entered India, then you will be able to see the detailed report which has returned by our Python Flask web application. But the default response has been overridden by this response which has been returned by Python and Flask. Whenever user ask or entered FAQ, or user asked anything like can I wear mask or something like this, so there should be a provision to handle these type of query strings. I have made a intent continue conversation for this. So you can see over here that I have my training phrases are FAQ, yeah, of course, or sure. Okay, so whenever user has entered something like this, then our chatbot will respond, please tell me your query. Okay, so let's assume I have asked FAQ. Now bot is telling me that please tell me your query. So if I ask can I wear mask, then there should be a provision to handle these kind of a training phrases, because these kind of training phrases are not over here. So for that, knowledge base comes into the picture. For all those query strings or question answers, as I have mentioned earlier in this video, that knowledge bases comes into the picture. Knowledge base is basically a collection of questions and answers. So I have created my knowledge base like COVID FAQ. So you just need to go to my code and you will be able to find COVID_FAQ folder. Inside it, I have created a CSV file. So if I show you this CSV file, then you will be able to see that it has questions and their answers, like what is coronavirus and its corresponding answer and so on. So can I wear mask is over here and its corresponding answer is over here. So we have to upload this CSV file to Dialogflow. So let's jump to the Dialogflow, and I have created my Dialogflow knowledge base document with this name. So after uploading, like if I create a new one, like new document, so just name it test. You will be able, you have to name a proper name like COVID_FAQ. So I have given test just to show you. So just choose FAQ, then MIME type is CSV, because we have a CSV file and we will be uploading it from the computer, and just upload it. Okay, and just hit create. Then it will take some time and it will be visible like this. Okay, and one more important thing, just scroll down and inside the response and inside the default option, just click text response and you will be able to see option like this, and just enter save after that. So your FAQ or knowledge base will be able to work. So now if I query can I wear mask, then it will, Dialogflow will goes inside the knowledge base and will look for the answer. So it is giving me the results. So now let's quickly look for the send email intent. So basically whenever user has entered India, so our Python Flask will return a response with the detailed report, and it will also ask for the do you want me to send the detailed report to my email address, type sure or not now. So let's assume I have entered sure. So if I entered sure, then you will be able to see that it is asking me please enter your name. So why it is asking me this kind of question, because I have handled this kind of a response or this kind of a query inside my send report to email option. Okay, so user will be able to see that okay, sure means send email intent, and it will look for the action and parameters which we have to extract from the user. So this is the reason action and parameter comes into the picture, and that's why it is very important to know about these. So you can see that I'm asking for the customer name. You can see that the prompt I'm asking is please enter your name. So it is similar to please enter your name. So let's assume I have entered my name. After that, it will ask me please enter your email address. So you can see that I'm asking for the please enter your email address over here. Okay, and same goes for contact number and pin code, and I have mapped it with the particular entities. Okay, now as soon as I have entered this, then I have to show the default response. So as soon as user has entered all these details name, email, contact number and pin code, then we have to show the default response to the user, which is we have sent the detailed report to your email address. So do you have another query? So there are two options that I'm showing to the user. One is main menu and other is exit. So let's assume user has chose main menu. Okay, so now there should be a provision to handle main menu query. So for that I have handled it inside a welcome intent, because welcome is our main kind of a main menu. So you can see over here that in my welcome intent with the main menu. So now chatbot will look for the welcome intent, and it will match with the query string will match with the welcome intent, and it will look for the response. So again my chatbot will show this kind of a menu to the user. You will see that there are a lot of intents I have created. So after importing a zip file, you will be able to see that. If you are not able to see that, then you have to create it manually according to the document. Okay, because all the intents works like the same. You just need to train the phrases and give the proper response. Now let's assume that we have to connect some of my intent with the Python and Flask. So let's assume that I have to send India to the my Python and Flask, so that my Python Flask will extract or parse the particular request which has India in it, and it will send it to the Rapid API, so that Rapid API will give the response back, our detailed report of India, and then our Python and Flask will send the report to the Dialogflow, and Dialogflow will send the response back to the user. So in order to connect the intent or agent with the Python and Flask backend, then you need to turn on this enable webhook call for this intent option. So for all the intents which you have to connect with the Python and Flask, your backend, then you have to enable this option for each and every intent. So you can see over here, I have enabled it for search country, and I have enabled it for all these intents, because we have to save the user and bot conversation also in our MongoDB database. Also, you need to go to the fulfillment part, and then you have to enable webhook option. Okay, so we will see how to generate this URL later. So to show the COVID-19 statistics to the chatbot, we will be using Rapid APIs, and which will be free of cost. So you just need to create your account, then you have to choose a suitable API for COVID-19 which shows the better statistics of COVID-19 with less latency. Be careful about the latency. You just need to check it should be a very less. Then you have to test it on the Rapid API platform and copy and paste your token. Your token won't be generated unless you haven't done the sign up. On the later stages, we will be using that particular API or URL on our Flask web application. So let's go to the Rapid API account. This is the Rapid API portal. You just need to choose one free APIs of COVID-19. So here's the free API of COVID-19 with the latency and with the success rate. So you just need to choose which API you want to use, and you just need to choose for the Python code, and then you just need to copy and paste this code. And as it is code, you will be able to use on Flask application. You just need to generate your token or API key, you just need to sign up. So I have already done that. Now we will set up PyCharm Community Edition IDE and Python on our laptop, and we will install Flask library. So you just need to download PyCharm Community Edition, then you have to download, and I'm assuming that you have already downloaded my code from my GitHub profile. Then you have to import my code to PyCharm and install all the dependencies, and we will try to run it locally. One more thing, before downloading PyCharm, you just need to download Python also, because Python is a base for all, and you just need to download 3.7.7 or 3.6. You can download because it's a more stable versions. So you just need to go on this website and you just need to download 3.7.7. So you need to go to JetBrains website. Here you will be able to find out that there are two PyCharm's editions are there for Windows, Mac and Linux. So you just need to download it for Community Edition. It's free and open source. So it will be a exe file. You just need to install exe file just like another software you do. And for Ubuntu, you just need to run this particular command. So after downloading my code from GitHub profile, you just need to right click on my code, and then you have to open folder as a PyCharm Community Edition. So as soon as you will do that, then you will be able to find out that all the application will be installed on your PyCharm. So you will be able to see that your code is opened on PyCharm as like this. And while building the project inside PyCharm, you will be able to see that it will show you some of the missing libraries option here. So you just need to install those libraries. If it will tell you that you just need to install the interpreter and interpreter not found, something like this. So you just need to go to file, then settings, then you have to search interpreter, Python interpreter, or you can go to add option here and you can set your new environment like this. So you just need to give the Python .exe's path. You just need to set your environment framework. So here is my basic chatbot flow, where user has queried something to the bot, and then Dialogflow sends the request to the Python Flask with some JSON parameters with intent. So we will be talking about Python Flask, this particular container today. So let's discuss about the Python. So you will see over here that there are some terminologies I have written over here, that like what is basically a Flask application. So Flask is basically a web application framework, or you can say micro web application framework, in which you have developed your backend and you write your backend code and then give response back to the client. So here for us, Dialogflow is our client, and then our server is basically written in a Flask web application framework, and which we will be deploying it to Pivotal Cloud Foundry or Heroku. And then you will be able to see that there is another terminology which is route. You can relate a route with a path. So let's assume you have a path like www.google.com/gmail. So /gmail is your route basically. So what route is doing in the backend is it is doing a backend processing for you. So whatever business logic you have written inside a webhook method or a webhook route, it is doing a processing of it and then giving the response back to the client. There are few requirements, manifest and proc runtime etc. files which are very important while deployment. I'll be discussing about it while we will be looking at code. And then you have to make sure that port number should be 0.0.0.0 while doing the deployment or while doing the testing at local postman. Then you have to make a port number 5000 or 8000, depends on you. And then we will be checking some HTTP requests to our rapid APIs. Okay, so let's quickly jump to the Python code. So you can see over here that this is my Python code. basically. And if you are able to see over here that I have opened app.py file. So app.py file is my the first point of contact in our Flask application. So whenever I'll deploy this particular Flask application to Pivotal or Heroku Cloud, then all the clients or like Dialogflow hits the Flask application, which means that they will hit this particular file. So I have written it inside proc file. So you can see over here that it is saying that it's a Python application, and the initiation point or a point of contact is, or a first file is app.py. Okay, so you can see over here that requirement.txt file is basically is important while doing the deployment. So it is telling our cloud that these kind of libraries are important and install it while doing the deployment. You can see over here it's a runtime.txt. I have mentioned my Python. Inside it you will mention your Python version. So I have mentioned my Python version 3.7.6. There is another file is manifest.yml. So you can oversee here that whenever we will do a deployment to our cloud, then we will mention a application name and the memory and RAM size and all. So it is important while doing the deployment. Okay, so let's go to the app.py file. So you can see over here that I have mentioned a route of /webhook over here, which has a method. So you can see over here that we have mentioned a route /webhook. So now whenever Google Dialogflow will hit a request, let's say Dialogflow wants to look for the Indian COVID report. Okay, so it will hit the Flask application with the URL /webhook. Okay, and then inside it this method will run. Now the work of this method is to process all the request which is given by a user or a Dialogflow, and then return a request back to the Dialogflow, and Dialogflow will give the response back to the user. So let's say whenever user wants to see or reports for India, then it will send webhook. It will send a request to the webhook with some parameters in the form of JSON, which includes intent. Okay, and then the request will come over this method def webhook. Okay, now this method will process that particular JSON which is sent by Dialogflow, and then it will process the request. So whenever you will go inside this method, then you will be able to see that it is fetching all the parameters from the JSON which is sent by Dialogflow, and then it is matching a intent basically. Okay, so it is matching the intent, and then on the basis of intent it is executing the further process. So let's suppose user wants to see Indian report, then it will go in the control will goes inside this method, this condition, and then it will make a API request. So you will be able to see that it will make a let's say for a country, request for a country. Okay, so it has a country name, and then this is the URL. Okay, and this is the query string or parameter, and then this is the headers. And you'll be able to see that this is the token which we have discussed in our last video, that we have to generate a rapid API token. So you have to use your own token over here, and then it is Python is requesting to this particular URL for the Indian reports, and then it is returning the responses. And as you can see over here that ultimately we are sending the response to the Dialogflow in the form of webhook response. Okay, so it is sending the response in the form of like fulfillment, then in the form of JSON itself. So it's a JSON basically, and we are sending the response, webhook response, the final response. Let's quickly jump over the Dialogflow, like if we have to test it locally. Okay, so you can see over here that this is the Dialogflow, and let's assume that I want India's report. Okay, so we have to type India, and then it is giving me the report. Okay, and then you have to just scroll down and you go to diagnostic info. and you can see over here that there's a raw API JSON. So you have to copy this. This will work as a request, Dialogflow request for a Python Flask. Okay, and just copy paste it inside some notepad. Okay, so you can see over here that this is the query text India, which I have just sent from the Dialogflow to our Flask. So I am fetching this geo country, all these parameters, India, geo country, and then one more important thing, just scroll down and find a display name. So this is my intent name basically. So inside intent, then display name, we have to fetch this. If it is matches our intent like country, then I have to request a rapid API for country name. Okay, so same thing we are doing in our code. So we are basically matching our intent. Okay, this intent basically. All right, so you have to do one thing. You have to run this code to test it locally on Postman. You have to run this code basically. So let's run it on our local host. Okay, so it is running on the local host 127.0.0.1 and this 5000 port number. Okay, so open your Postman. So you have to download Postman application first in your Windows or Ubuntu or any platform. Then you have to give the URL localhost colon 5000, which is act as a localhost URL, and then slash webhook. Webhook is your basically a route, and then you have to make a post request here, and then inside header you have to choose header, and then inside header you will give content type equal to application/JSON. It is mandatory basically, and then inside body and select raw, and then you have to paste your particular raw JSON. It will act as a request or a input for a Python Flask, which is sent by Google Dialogflow. So just copy and paste it. I have already done that, and now you have to send the request. So it is Postman is acting like a Dialogflow basically in this case. So you can see over here that it is giving me the proper response, and the same response we are returning to the Dialogflow, and then Dialogflow will parse the response and make sure response should be look like this only, because Dialogflow won't be able to understand this otherwise. And you can customize your response on the basis of like Facebook, Telegram, so rich messages basically. Okay, so I'll give you one script file which you can customize according to you, and you can customize it and you can send the response in that particular customization. So it will show different type of UI in Facebook or in different type of UI for Telegram. Okay, so you can see we have tested it locally. Now we are ready to go for the deployment part. So now if we have to deploy it, then we have some steps for it. So you just need to download and install Cloud Foundry CLI. Okay, so let's go to the Google and just go to this particular URL, and you will be able to find out this particular command for Mac, for Windows. Yes, so you have to download it for Windows and just download it and unzip it, and you have to run as an administrator. Okay, this executable file you have to run as an administrator. Then you have to open your command prompt. Okay, so you have to open your command prompt, and then you have to run cf-help. If your command prompt is able to run it, then it means your Cloud Foundry CLI is installed in it. Okay, then you have to set up your account inside Pivotal with your phone number, and you have to create your organization name there. It can be anything. Okay, so let me go to the URL, and I am logging in with my account, and you will be able to see that I have created my organization name like this. Okay, and inside it is giving it showed me development by default. Okay, then you have to run below command cf login and cf push one by one. So let's go to the Flask code and go to terminal. So inside it, make sure you have you are in the correct path till your project. Okay, so I'm inside my project and I have just written cf login command. So it is asking me for my email address and all. Okay, so it will ask you the password also, and then you will hit enter, and after some login and check, it will show you your organization name and login successful. Then you have to run cf push command. So as soon as you will enter cf push, then it will do some process and it will deploy your code to Pivotal Cloud Foundry, and you will be able to see your code over here like this, like mine. Okay, and then done, you will be get the URL of a cloud, so where your code is pushed. So this particular Pivotal Cloud will generate a URL for you, and it means that your code Flask application is up and running to the in Pivotal Cloud Foundry. Okay, and then it will give you one URL, and which URL you have to use here inside fulfillment. So I have Pivotal give me this particular URL. Slash webhook is my route basically. So you can we have understood earlier in this video that all the process will be done inside webhook routes method. Okay, and then we will give the response back to the Dialogflow via this route method. So we have to just enable the webhook, and then we have to give the URL over here, and then we have to click save button. So now we are good to go. Now one more important thing, whenever you are you have deployed your code Flask application to cloud, and you have mentioned your URL inside fulfillment, then you have to connect your Dialogflow with your Flask application. So let's say I have to connect this particular intent to Flask application. Okay, so you have to scroll down and enable fulfillment. Okay, so you make sure you have enabled this enable webhook call for this intent, for each and every intent which you want to connect with the Python and Flask. So I have almost enabled all the intents because I have to save user and bot conversation in our database. So our Python and Flask code will get to know each and every conversation happening between the user and bot. So I have to enable each and every intent. So you can see over here that for a welcome intent, I have also enabled the fulfillment. Even though I'm not returning anything from the backend in welcome intent, but still I have to my Python or Flask code should be able to know that some user and bot conversation is happening in the backend. All right, so this is all about Flask and the testing locally and the deployment part to the Pivotal. You can same deploy it to Heroku platform, and Heroku is also very easy to deploy. So you just need to run 3 or 4 git commands, and then it is done. So it will work same for you. And important thing you have to notice over here, while deployment you have to uncomment this particular section inside app.py file. You have to uncomment this section and comment particular this section while deployment, and while testing you have to uncomment this and comment this particular section. To run it locally, you have to comment this configure database method, because we haven't talked about MongoDB client, and so that your username and password is not generated yet. So whenever we will set up our MongoDB, then you have to write your username and password over here. So as of now, while doing the testing, you have to comment this. So I have commented the code because there is no use of configure database right now. So wherever configure database is used in the code, you have to comment that line. Okay, and for to send the email, you have to give your sender email and password over here. So for whatever ID you want to send the email to the user, you have to set up your email and password over here. So you have to replace your it with your email address and password. So email client.py is responsible to send the email whenever Dialogflow or user ask for the email. So you can see over here that prepare email is the method under app.py. So let's assume whenever Dialogflow request for the send email to the webhook, and then webhook process it, and then after parsing some of the parameters, then it tries to matches the intent, and if it matches the intent of send email, so you can see over here that intent is send underscore report to email. We are preparing our email So it will goes inside this particular prepare email method, and then send email method is running. So this code will run. Okay, and it will fetch the HTML file. You can see over here, this is the HTML file we will see under our email method. You can see over here it is formatted right now. So we saw earlier in our email that we have got the detailed report like this. So this is our HTML file basically. So yeah, so this is the email client for you, and you have to replace it with your username and password, and then you have to replace and you have to comment the use of database as of now, configure database method, because we haven't set up the username and password for MongoDB. Why we are studying MongoDB? The basic and the fundamental question arises here. MongoDB is basically a NoSQL database which stores the data in the form of JSON and a key value pairs, you can say. If you have to provide an analogy with the SQL, then table is equivalent to collection and rows is equivalent to documents. So inside collection there are a lot of documents. So why we are using MongoDB Atlas? Because we don't need to set up MongoDB manually on our cloud platform, and it is free for 500 MB entire cluster. So we will discuss how to integrate it with our COVID-19 chatbot with our Flask backend, because we have to save user and bot conversation in our database. Now, what are the steps? So first of all, we have to create a MongoDB Atlas account, which is free. Then we have to create a cluster with AWS. And by the way, MongoDB Atlas is using different cloud providers in the backend, like AWS, Google Cloud, or Microsoft Azure. So you can create any of the cluster, which is free for 500 MB. And then you have to create a username and password. Then you have to make IP whitelist. If you will provide 0.0.0.0/0, so what it means is anybody can access your database or anybody can hit your database. But if you are providing your IP address, particular your IP address, then you will hit your database. So basically it's a security. So we are doing basically a testing. So I'm just doing it 0.0.0. So anybody can hit my database. So it is basically a additional security check you can integrate with your database. And then, so we have to create our database and collection name. And then finally we will generate our connection URL so that we can connect it with our Flask application. So let's start with the practical part. So you have to go to MongoDB Atlas website, just click on it and create your account. You can see over here that it is saying start with free account. So just do the sign in and login. I have already done that. After login, you will be able to see that it is saying me shared clusters and dedicated and all. So we have to use free one. So just click on create cluster. Now you can see over here that we have created a starter cluster. We'll be using AWS, and I'm selecting North Virginia. Okay, and you can see over here that it is showing me 512 MB storage. Okay, so yeah, cluster name is 0, and you can see over here it is showing free. So let's click on create cluster. So it will take some time. As you can see that it is telling you that we are deploying your changes. It is basically connecting your MongoDB Atlas to AWS. So now this is your dashboard whenever you will do the sign in your account. So now our next step is to create a new user. So we will go inside database access, and we have to click on add new database user. So you can give any name like testing, or just make it like COVID, and then you have to make your password. Anything you can make your password, and then you have to give read and write access to the database, and then you have to click add user. Okay, so you will be able to see that your new database user is created. So now our next step is IP whitelist. So we will go inside network access and then IP whitelist option, and then click on add IP address. So what IP whitelist is doing basically is providing an extra security check. So if you will provide your own IP address here, so you will be only able to connect with your database. But here we are doing it for testing, so you can make it for public. and confirm. So you can see over here that it is showing pending status, so it will take some time. Now we have to create our database and our collection in order to save the bot and user conversation. So it will take some time. Let it load for a moment. So we can see over here that our IP whitelist is active, and then our next step is to create a collection or a database. So just go to cluster and you will be able to see that your cluster is ready. Then you have to click collections, and now inside collections you have to click add my own data. So you have to give your database name. It can be anything like COVID-19 DB, something like this, or collection name can be like chat records, and just hit create. So it will take some time and your database and collection will be ready. So basically you will be able to see over here that all the rows inside the database. So database is COVID-19 database, and our collection is chat underscore record. So inside chat underscore record collection we will have multiple documents. So you will be able to see that insert document option over here. So you can insert your document manually here, but we have to insert this document from our code basically in the form of user and bot conversation. Okay, so let's quickly go to the connection part, and we have to create a connection. So now in order to connect it with our Python or Flask code or a backend, then we have to generate a connection URL. So go to overview inside cluster. So you will be able to see over here that your cluster, and you have to click connect, and then you have to click connect our application, and driver would be Python and version would be 3.6L or later. Then you have to copy and paste this link, and let's copy and paste it somewhere in the notepad. Okay, all right, so we are good to go, and our MongoDB hosting as a service is set up. So you can see over here that there are 3 steps now to integrate our MongoDB with our Python and Flask code. So first of all, you have to go to your terminal and you have to install PyMongo library. So you have to write a command pip install pymongo equal to 3.9.0, because I have installed it with the latest 3.10 version, but it won't work for me anyhow. So I'm giving the workaround for it. So you have to install specifically this particular library. So basically by using PyMongo, we will be creating MongoDB client inside a Python Flask. So and by using MongoDB client, we will be accessing our database through URL. Then we have to copy paste this particular URL which we have basically generated from our MongoDB Atlas account, and then we will be inserting documents in the form of user and bot conversation. So let's quickly jump to PyCharm code, and you will be able to see app.py file over here. So first of all, we have to do from PyMongo import MongoDB client. So as I have told you that we have to import MongoDB client in order to make a Flask and MongoDB connection through URL. Okay, and then let's assume that user has asked for the some report for the India. Then as we have seen earlier in the previous videos, that all the requests will come over here inside the /webhook, and which is our route request. It will process the Dialogflow request. Okay, so inside process request you will be able to see that there is a variable db equal to configure database. So you will be able to see that in the part 4th I have commented this particular configure database, because we were testing it locally and till the time we haven't set up our MongoDB. So now you have to uncomment that part. So you will go inside a configure database method, and now you have to create a MongoDB client basically. So you have to create a MongoDB client object, and you have to copy and paste your particular URL which you have generated from MongoDB Atlas account. And specifically I'm mentioning over here that you have to give your username and password. So you can see over here that I have given my COVID is a username, and password you have to give your password. It can be anything XYZ which depends on you. Okay, and then I'm returning client.getDatabase and my database name. So now if you will go up, and then you will see that inside DB I'm having the connection with my database and a Flask. Okay, so now my Flask is my Flask will be able to access MongoDB database using DB. Okay, our intent is matched with the search country. So now we have make the API request for India, and a report is generated, and you can see over here that we are setting all the report in the form of string, and then you will be able to see over here that there is a method log.save conversation. So log is basically a object for our class conversation.py. So if you will see the use of log, so you will be able to see that log is equal to inside process request method, log is equal to conversation.log. Conversation.py is basically a file name and class is our log. So we have done it like this, log equal to conversation.log. Okay, and then inside log class I have created a method save conversation, which is responsible to save the user and bot conversation. So you will be able to see that it is taking session ID, user message, bot message, and intent of the user, and DB connection. So what is DB connection? DB connection is basically the MongoDB client which we have created through URL just now. Hitting the Rapid API and getting the response, we are saving the user and bot conversation. So by passing session ID, country name which user has asked for the detailed report, and then webhook response, and then intent of the user, and DB variable. DB variable basically has a connection with the MongoDB. Okay, so now let's go inside the save conversation method. Now I am creating some date and time, and now finally this is the main part. Just focus it over here, guys. I'm creating a dictionary. So as I have told you earlier in the video that MongoDB saves the database in the form of JSON or a dictionary, you can say in the terms of Python. So I'm creating a dictionary where session ID, user intent is acting like a key, user bot is acting like a key, and so these username, bot message are acting like a value. So we are saving the data in the form of key and value pairs. Now I'm getting my connection name chat records inside a DB connection, and I'm putting it inside records. Now I'm doing a records.insert one, and I'm inserting my dictionary. As we can see over here that if we will go inside the basic chatbot flow, so you will be able to see that whenever user queried something to the Dialogflow, and Dialogflow will hits the JSON request inside our webhook route, and our Python Flask code will process that and makes a DB connection basically, and then saves the conversation inside the MongoDB in the form of documents. Okay, so this is how our database is working finally, and you will be able to see the data inside our at my MongoDB inside chat records. So you will be able to see that I'm saving all the data. So user is said hi, then bot respond hello, hope you are doing good and all. So intent was welcome to greet the user, and if user said exit, then end conversation was the intent, and something like this. Okay, so this is how our database is working. So in the real time, if you are working on some other projects like HR or HR domain or a finance domain or some ticket booking system, then this is the way you will be connecting your all the chatbot with the database, or basically a Python code with the database, and that's how you can fetch and give the response back to the Dialogflow from your database. Here I want to discuss 3 points which we have to see before integration of our COVID-19 chatbot to Telegram. So first is we will be customizing layout according to the Telegram. So we will be adding quick layouts and images according to our implementation, and then we will check our COVID-19 chatbot on our Dialogflow website. So if you have to integrate this particular chatbot on website, some web application, Dialogflow gives us a iframe tag for that. So you just need to copy paste that particular iframe tag in your HTML, and you are good to go. And third is we will be creating token from Telegram bot father, and then we will integrate that particular token to our Dialogflow, so that our Dialogflow and Telegram get connected together. So let's go to the Dialogflow and just quickly add some quick layouts and customize the UI. I'm here inside my Dialogflow website. You will be able to see that all my intents are here. Then if you will just type hi, then you will be able to see that the response is in the form of text only. There is no button or something like this, right? How will you show the buttons or quick layout, something like all this customization of UI into the chatbot? Now I have opened the welcome intent over here. So my idea is to show all these options like cases country wise and or Indian states or something like this into the quick layout or up in the form of button. Okay, so here is my Telegram application and here is my bot, and you will be able to see that whenever user said hi, then it is showing me some 4 buttons over here. If you will be able to see that it is showing me 4 buttons over here like statistics, FAQ, help desk and exit. So how it is being created in Telegram, so let's discuss this. Now you will be able to see that I am inside my welcome intent, and you have to scroll down and go to response, and then you will be able to see plus button over here. So you just need to click over it, and you can see that there are a lot of options available here, and Telegram is one of the options amongst this. Just click on it and you will be able to see that it is showing the options like this Telegram. Okay, now you have to just turn off this particular option, because you don't want to see text response as a default, because it is saying that use response from the default tab. So what is the response in default? Text response basically. Okay, so we don't want to use default response, we want to customize the UI for Telegram, right? Now you will be able to see that if you will go to the chatbot of Telegram, then you will be able to see that it is firstly showing me the text, then showing me some buttons. Okay, so here you have to click on add response button, then you will be you have to click text response. As soon as you will do this particular text response UI will be created for you. Okay, and then you have to type anything which you want to type, and as a response, the text response. So whenever user said hi, then this response will come, and after that you have to again click on add response, and then you have to add quick replies over here. So this is my quick replies basically. So I have added button's name like this in the form of quick replies. Okay, so just always remember that you have few options like text response, image. You can add image also. Then if you will add image URL over here, let's add some image URL. Okay, right, so we want to show this particular image in the welcome intent. Okay, so just copy the URL and go to add and click on image, and you will be able to see that image option is available over here. Just paste that particular URL here inside the image, and then just click save. Okay, so now you will be able to see that intent is saved, and it will do some training part. Okay, yeah, so training is started and completed. Okay, so now let's go back to the Telegram and just ping hi. So you will be able to see that after text response, first is text, then it is showing me quick replies, kindly choose one option like buttons, and after that third option is images. So you will be able to see that I'm able to customize my UI according to the applications like Telegram, Facebook Messenger. So you will be able to see that I have also integrated this application or chatbot to Facebook Messenger. So but due to COVID-19, Facebook is not approving some chatbots. This is the reason I'm not showing this option over here. Likewise, you can customize your application chatbot for these particular applications. Okay, so I hope it is clear for you all. Now let's go back to the our chatbot and ask a bot father to integrate to generate a token. Now I'm inside, I have searched bot father. You have to go to bot father, and then you have to type /new bot. Okay, so it will show you some options like, all right, a new bot, how are we going to call it? Okay, so it is asking me the name of the bot. So let's say I'm giving the name test COVID Dinesh, and make sure you have to type bot at last. Okay, so now it is saying good. It is saying good. Now let's choose a username for the bot. So username should be different, like it can be test COVID bot. You can make it like this. Great. So now it is saying me done. Congratulations on your bot. You will find it on this particular URL. So whenever you have to give reference to the bot to someone, like, so that anybody can use it, so you have to you can give this particular URL. Okay, and now you will be able to see that it is generated a token for me. So you just need to copy this particular token and just paste it some inside notepad. Okay, now just go back to the Dialogflow, and you have to go to integration option, because we are integrating Dialogflow to the Telegram. Now you have to scroll down and you will be able to see that this particular Telegram option. So you have to enable it, and then you will be able to see that Telegram token over here. So you just need to paste that particular token over here, and then you have to enable it, and it will show you the start option over here. Then you just need to start. So as I have already connected my Dialogflow with Telegram, so it is not showing me a start option, but for you it will show you the start option. I have told you that we can integrate our chatbot on some website or HTML pages. So you will be able to see that inside integration there is option web demo. Okay, so just click on it, and you will be able to see that this particular link. So if you will click on this particular link, you will be able to see that some particular chatbot UI. If you will ask something, then it will reply. And if you have to so right now it is inside Dialogflow's website, right? So you can't give the URL directly to your client. You can do one thing. You just need to create some HTML file inside your Flask application. Okay, and make some another route like /welcome, and just put that particular HTML inside it. You will be able to access that particular HTML page from your URL /welcome, and then you will be able to see that HTML page will come. Now just you have to copy paste this particular iframe inside your HTML file, and you will be able to see that particular chatbot screen inside your website. So that's how you can make it in end-to-end product. But because I have integrated it in Telegram application, so I have showed you that. Okay, so yeah, so this is how you will be able to develop your chatbot. I want to tell you guys, like after this integration, your chatbot series is completed. And in case of any query and comments you want, or any feedback you want to share with me, you just comment down below. Thank you.